Muhur grinanto vachasa nuraga Skalat padenasya kritani tachkyaha Kirita sahasramani praveka Pradyotito dhamma phana sahasram. Translation. The glorious sages who knew the exploits of the Lord worshipped them repeatedly with words by which the syllables were moving because of their devotion. They inquired sincerely from the Lord, from which thousands of hood were spreading all around the brilliance of the gems that were posed on his hoods, the precious stones. The sages knew the glorious activities of the Lord. Also, when they met him, they glorified him through choice poetry in a way to satisfy him. But because they were full of emotions, because of their devotion, their words were vacillating. Different feelings exist. According to the spiritual forms that the devotees of the Lord have. And according to the form that the Lord takes. The more the opulences of the Lord are present, and the more the devotees glorify His opulences. What we see, what we feel, it is the thing that we express. When we meet the sweetness of the Lord, then this glorification operates differently. Why? Because the feelings are different. The experience is different. What the sweetness means. It is that the Lord needs a shelter. He needs help. He feels the love for his devotees like a shelter in his sweetness. And this sweetness, it makes appear within himself, just like a lac. Without you, I don't have an existence, because there is love. In Braj, love is completely pure.
Lorsque dans ce monde matériel,
when in this material world,
un homme tombe amoureux d'une femme,
a man falls in love with a woman,
ou une femme
a woman
tombe amoureuse d'un homme,
falls in love with a man,
alors,
then
quand l'amour
when love
devient très fort,
becomes very strong,
ils ne peuvent vivre un instant sans être
they cannot live one moment
avec eux.
without being one with the other.
Mais ça, c'est
But this is
comme un reflet perverti.
like a perverted reflection,
Parce que c'est tout petit.
because it is minute.
L'âme est infime.
The soul is,
Donc l'amour
Very
qu'on
small.
ressent, là,
and the love that the soul feels,
qui est conditionné,
which is conditioned,
qui est imparfait,
which is imperfect,
pour une autre âme
for another soul,
imparfaite,
which is imperfect,
est un amour imparfait.
is an imperfect love.
C'est pourquoi
That is why
il amène énormément de complications
it brings a lot of complications
et de souffrances.
and suffering.
Mais dans le monde transcendantal,
But in the transcendental world,
qui est
which is
la vérité,
the truth,
l'amour
love
existe.
exists.
Mais il est si élevé
But it is so high
et sans limite
and limitless
qu'il englobe
that it surrounds
tous les compagnons du Seigneur.
all the companions of the Lord.
C'est pourquoi dans la demeure
That
du
is
Seigneur,
why in the abode of the
on n'est
Lord,
pas séparés les uns des autres,
we're not separated from one and the others,
mais on est dans l'harmonie
but we're
suprême
in supreme
des
harmony
sentiments que ressent
of the feelings
Krishna pour Radharani,
that Krishna feels for Radharani
Radha pour Krishna.
or Radha for Krishna.
Et c'est pourquoi,
And this is why
lorsque cet amour
When
s'exprime,
this love expresses itself,
s'exprime dans la
it
douceur
expresses itself in
et dans les
sweetness
sentiments
and in
que
the
Radha et Krishna
in the
se
feelings
portent pour eux-mêmes.
that Radha and Krishna bear for one and the other.
Imaginez par exemple,
Imagine, for example,
alors c'est difficile pour l'âme conditionnée
It's-
bien sûr,
it's difficult
qui ressent
for the conditioned soul, doesn't feel attachment or taste
pour le Seigneur suprême.
for the Supreme Lord,
Parce qu'il faut
because we need
au moins
at
aller
least
au niveau Ashakti,
to be at the level of Ashakti,
comprendre un tout petit peu,
to understand a little bit,
pour avoir
to have
une perception
a perception
d'un certain niveau
of a certain level
de ce genre de sentiment.
of this kind of feelings.
Mais
But
si vous arrivez
if you will be able
dans un moment
to be
où
there
Krishna, par exemple,
in a moment where
se met à
Krishna,
pleurer dans
for example,
Subal
starts to cry in the arms of Subal Saka,
qui lui révèle son cœur,
and he reveals his heart to
il ne
him
peut pas vivre
that
sans sa bien-aimée.
he cannot live without his beloved.
Imaginez si vous arrivez
Imagine if you come like
avec
this
une prière,
with prayers,
Seigneur suprême,
Oh Supreme Lord.
c'est pas possible.
It's not possible.
On appelle ça rasamasa.
We call that Rasabasa.
C'est pourquoi,
That is why
dans certains divertissements,
in certain pastimes,
comme
Like-
lorsque Krishna soulève la colline Govardhan,
when Krishna lifts Govardhan Hill,
on voit de quelle manière
We
Krishna
see-
manifeste des pouvoirs.
in which way Krishna manifests powers.
Une montagne
A hill, a mountain,
qui est énorme.
which is enormous.
Il la porte sur son petit
He lifts it and puts it on his pinky for 7 days
sans dormir.
without sleeping
Sous cette colline,
under this hill.
il y a des vallées merveilleuses
There are wonderful valleys
avec des joyaux,
with jewels
des
everywhere,
arbres
wish-fulfilling trees, beautiful birds singing,
mais personne ne s'en rend compte.
but nobody is aware of all of
C'est
it
la douceur.
because it is sweetness.
Personne ne peut voir
Nobody can see
cette puissance.
this power.
Au contraire,
To the contrary,
ils vont même penser que
they will
Krishna
even think that Krishna, his arms is hurting, they will massage his arm.
porter avec les
The Gopas would try to to support the Govardhan Hill with their sticks,
plus fort que Krishna.
thinking that they are stronger than Krishna.
Il ne peut pas avoir de rasabasa.
There cannot be any rasabasa
Parce que le sentiment, il est dans la douceur.
because the feeling is in the sweetness.
Krishna est mon ami.
Krishna is my friend.
Même on voit
Even we see
que dans des régions
that in regions
l'opulence commence à apparaître,
where opulence starts to
dans le
appear,
Dwarka,
for example in Dwarka,
où Krishna peut manifester 4 armes.
where Krishna can manifest 4 arms.
Même dans des relations
Even in friendly relationships, Arjuna, he thinks that Krishna cannot even defend himself alone,
alors que lui, il
whereas
peut
he
battre des armées entières.
can deal with entire armies.
Donc il y a cette forme aussi de douceur.
So there is also this form of
Où
sweetness,
il pense que le Seigneur,
where he thinks that the Supreme Lord,
qui est l'origine de
the one who is the origin of their
il
strength,
est sans fin.
is strengthless.
Et on voit quand Arjuna
And we
a
see
manifesté cette
When Arjuna, when Krishna manifested this universal form,
alors bien sûr Vishwanath
well, of course, Vishwanath,
explique
he explains
il a donné
that he gave
divin, inférieur.
divine inferior
Parce
eyes
que Arjuna,
because Arjuna,
dans cette relation avec
in this
Krishna,
eternal relationship with Krishna,
cette forme
he doesn't have the possibility to see this universal form. It's not possible.
Parce que la forme universelle,
Because the universal form,
c'est une forme
it is a form
temporaire,
that is temporary,
parfois manifestée.
that is sometimes manifested and sometimes unmanifest.
Mais
But
lorsqu'il a vu cette forme,
when he saw this form,
il était vraiment surpris
he was really surprised
parce qu'il avait
because he
le
had
mental d'Arjuna
the mind of Arjuna
d'être l'ami de Krishna.
to be Krishna's friend,
Krishna manifeste
and he sees Krishna manifesting this monstrous form,
suprêmement puissant.
supremely powerful.
Et à ce moment-là,
And then
il y a eu une complète désharmonie
there was a complete disharmony
dans la personnalité d'Arjuna.
in the personality of Arjuna.
Comment c'est possible
How is that
que
possible?
cette personne
That this person
qui ne pouvait même pas se défendre
that could not even defend himself alone is the origin of everything.
Et là,
And then
tout a changé.
everything changed.
Tout son sentiment a changé.
All his feeling changed.
Mais en même temps,
But at the same time,
parce que
because
il était toujours Arjuna,
he was always Arjuna
l'opulence du
who
Seigneur,
saw the opulence of the Lord,
apprécier cette situation.
he could not appreciate this situation.
Et donc il a
And so he
Krishna
asked Krishna
une
to
forme
take back a sweeter form.
Mais Krishna a joué avec Arjuna.
But Krishna played with
C'est ça
Arjuna.
le sentiment de Sakya.
This is the Sakya feeling, friendship.
C'est que Krishna il manifeste
It's that Krishna manifests a form, and limitless,
terrifiant.
terrifying.
Hein, c'est expliqué que
It is explained that
tous les guerriers entraient dans cette bouche.
all the warriors were entering his mouth. He was destroying everything.
C'était terrifiant.
It was terrifying.
Et Arjuna,
And Arjuna,
son corps tremblait.
his body was trembling
Des émotions qui étaient contradictoires.
from emotions that were contradictory
Il ne désirait pas.
and that he did not desire. He was not used to it.
Il y avait un certain
There was
émerveillement.
a certain astonishment, but at some point
C'était sans goût.
it was tasteless.
Un bhakta qui
A bhakta
expérimente le
who
Brahman,
experiences Brahman, for
c'est
example,
comme une punition.
it's like a
Et
punishment.
pourtant,
But still,
les personnalistes,
the impersonalists,
pour eux,
for
c'est
them,
l'émerveillement total.
it is total
Et
astonishment.
Arjuna, qu'est-ce qu'il a dit?
And Arjuna, what did he say? Oh,
cette forme,
I saw this
moi,
form.
je voudrais que tu
It's good, but now I would like to take your normal form. Krishna said, but why?
Il faut maintenant que tu médites sur cette forme.
You not to meditate on this form now.
Krishna a joué.
Krishna played.
Ça, c'est le secret.
This is Sakya.
Parce qu'il y a la douceur,
Because there's sweetness,
même s'il manifeste son opulence.
even if he manifests his opulence. This is the Supreme Lord.
Il peut tout faire.
He can do everything.
C'est pourquoi la Bhagavad
That
Gita,
is why the Bhagavad Gita,
elle est comprise à différents niveaux.
it is understood at different levels.
Elle est commentée à différents niveaux.
And it is commented at different levels.
Alors bien sûr,
So of course,
certains Vaishnavas
certain
commentent,
Vaishnavas, they commented the Bhagavad Gita.
comme une... Ce sont toujours les paroles
These are always
qui inspiration
the words that the Lord inspires to his devotees.
de commencer leur dévotion.
But it's a way for the living entities to start their devotion.
Parce qu'il faut établir une base.
Because a basis needs to be established.
Souvent, dans une prochaine vie,
For often in the next life, continue. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta used to say, we need 3 lifetimes
pour retourner à Krishna.
to go back to Krishna.
Donc la première vie, c'est cette base.
So first life is this basis.
Il n'y a pas de sentiment.
There are no feelings.
On n'a pas de goût,
We don't have
pas
taste.
d'amour.
We don't have love.
On pense à voyager
We think about traveling
extérieurement,
externally,
dans un temple,
to go in a temple, another temple,
Parce qu'on ne voyage pas à l'intérieur.
because we don't travel inside.
On a besoin de prendre des vacances.
We need to take holidays, this and that, to change. And it's normal,
Parce qu'on essaie de
because we're trying to find a balance to stay a Vaishnava, and it's really important.
Mais
But
sur le plan du Madhyama Adhikari,
on the plane of
le
Madhyamadikari,
voyage commence à l'intérieur.
the travel starts within.
Le goût
Taste manifests itself, truly,
et il ne trouve pas
and it doesn't
de
find
goût autre que dans
taste other than with Krishna.
Avant, il faut un certain
Before,
équilibre entre les deux.
a certain balance is needed between the two.
Quand l'état du Madhyama
But when
Adhikari se
the
manifeste,
state of Madhyamadikari can manifest, it cannot be anything else but a devotee.
trouver
And find taste in Krishna.
et après,
And
à un
after,
moment,
at a certain point,
quand le Seigneur est satisfait,
when the Lord is satisfied,
alors le voyage commence.
then the travel starts.
Il a une expérience du monde transcendantal.
He has an experience of the transcendental world.
Il peut méditer,
He can meditate.
il peut entendre,
He can hear.
il peut voir d'une certaine manière.
He can see in a certain way
Comprendre.
and understand His reality.
Or, à ce moment-là,
However, at this point,
il peut comprendre
he can
des
understand
paroles plus avancées.
words that are more advanced.
Par exemple,
For example,
des commentaires comme Srila Vishvacharita,
commentaries like Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti
il
Thakur,
parle
where he
de
speaks
ce jeu qui
about
existe
this play that exists
au moment de la guerre,
at the time of total war
qui a duré 18 jours,
that lasted 18 days. And if my memory is good,
650 millions de personnes qui sont mortes en 18 jours.
650 million people that were dead in 18 days. How is that possible?
Parce
Understand?
que c'est des êtres
Because
divins qui sont-
there are divine beings that are present.
Cette bataille-là n'est
This,
pas matérielle.
this battle is not material, like the Second World War, the First World War.
C'est des guerres où le
They are
Seigneur
wars where the Lord comes
pour se divertir.
to enjoy.
Donc les êtres,
So the living entities who come, they are demigods,
éternels du Seigneur,
eternal associates of the Lord,
et ils manifestent
and they
ce qu'on
manifest
appelle un divertissement.
what we call a pastime.
Et ce divertissement,
And this pastime, when it is finished,
il se manifeste dans
it manifests itself in another universe. It is eternal.
C'est pas matériel.
It is not material.
Et ça, c'est quelque chose
And
que
this
les
is
êtres
something that the living entities are not able to
de
understand.
la guerre,
Because
ça
war,
peut pas être amour.
it cannot be love.
Pourtant,
Still,
Srila Prabhupada explique,
Srila Prabhupada explains,
quand Bhishmadev tirait
when
ses
Bhishmadev
flèches sur Krishna,
was throwing his arrows at Krishna,
il les lançait
he was throwing them
comme si Cupidon lui-même.
just like Cupid himself was throwing arrows.
Et Krishna,
And Krishna, they entered into his body.
du sang.
There was blood that was coming out.
Quand le
Still,
Seigneur a un corps éternel,
The Lord has an eternal body,
mais
but
ce Seigneur-là
this
a
Lord,
manifesté une bonté particulière.
he manifested a special beauty. He was more and more beautiful. Gradually, as Vishmadev was piercing him with his arrows, and Krishna was feeling directly the love that Vishmadev felt for him.
Qui peut comprendre ça?
Who can understand this?
Si vous leur parlez de flèches,
If you speak to them about arrows, they will say,
ça c'est l'illusion.
this is illusion.
C'est ça le chanta de ce monde
This is the Shanta of this world, the neutrality
que tout le monde pratique.
that everyone practices,
Parce qu'il n'y a pas de sentiment spirituel.
because there's no spiritual feeling.
C'est juste pratiquer,
It's just practicing to have peace,
mais sans avoir de relation avec
but without having a relationship with the Lord.
Dans cette circonstance,
However, in this circumstance,
comprendre
we cannot understand
le Seigneur.
the pastimes of the Lord, It is impossible.
Pourquoi devenir un dévot?
That is why becoming a devotee is really complicated. We need to have performed in previous lives so many pious acts to be able to accept that the war of Kurukshetra, finally, it is completely transcendental and full of feelings. It is not possible otherwise. That is why different purports, commentaries exist, just like different levels of mercy that the Lord, He allows to living entities. Someone who starts, he cannot understand the one who is at the middle. And the one who is at the middle, he cannot understand the one who is at the end. So, the one who is at the end, the perfect, through the influence of the Supreme Lord, then He speaks for those who are at the beginning, for those who are at the middle, for those who are for the most elevated. That is why all kinds of commentaries exist. But if you don't have the qualification and you read the highest, it won't have the proper effect, because the basis will be lacking, and you will think that you are elevated spiritually, and you will develop pride. Never you will be able to enter into the pastimes of the Lord. Impossible. That is why we must learn the basis and gradually study with this feeling that will come to pick us up, just like a mercy, to study after commentaries that are more and more internal, but not all, immediately. It is a rule. We cannot on our own develop love of God. It's by the service attitude and by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, when they are satisfied with ourselves, that the feelings come and realization comes. That is why when we study the life of Vaishnavas, when we study the Srimad Bhagavatam, then all these qualities gradually will come, and we must be able to progress and be more serious in our spiritual life. But if we don't study, if we don't practice, if we associate with persons that have no feelings, that are an illusion, then it will take more time, more lifetimes. We have to be conscious of it. Right now, please. Right now, it is us who decide what we will become and the feeling that we will develop. And sometimes the spiritual master is obliged to chastise his disciple. He tells him, if you continue like that, you won't go up to the end. It's not even certain you will stay a devotee in this life. Because he sees you live for yourself, not for Krishna, not for his devotees. So, at some point, you will not be able to stay. Because where the devotees are, where Krishna is present, where there is Krishna's world, everyone lives only for Krishna. And at some point, we won't be able to stay. That is why we must make the good choice, and not stay, like we say, outside of the pot. If there's honey pot, we should not close the pot and just lick the outside. But on our own, we won't be able to open this pot because it's not ordinary honey. It is the honey that comes out from the beautiful lotus feet of Shri Guru. It is the service attitude that makes it that we can see the pot and the pot opens and we can become like a bee and enter in it to taste it. But not out of our own strength. And we can see our own cheating because day after day we don't make an effort and we don't progress because we're like blocked on our pride. We think we are good. We don't cry. We're in a form of illusion. We do the same thing in Krishna's house. We take our comfort, our independence, our habits. We want respect, etc. And we don't progress. And we suffer from this. So, if the mercy is there, we become aware of it. We cannot stay insensitive. And the suffering, we must find a solution, because otherwise we will go away. It will push us to go away, to leave. So, Krishna says, He gives the intelligence. But to the one who has the right attitude, to make him understand what is not working properly in his attitude. And then, at this point, when we feel this proximity with the Lord, we become attached to Him. We develop a higher taste. And then, from there, we will work on ourselves. And gradually, since Krishna will reciprocate more and more, the work on ourselves will bring us up until the total destruction of all the imperfections that are within. This is the path of love. It is something that is really important. But when we go, we will get to that path of love. We'll be able to understand the emotions of the devotees, the language of the Bhagavatam, this mercy which accompanies gradually the devotee up until perfection. And we will understand the position, the wonderful position and personality, just like Prabhupada, who comes from the transcendental world, to be able to distribute this mercy, but in a way like a doctor. A doctor, he sees the patient. I see the sickness. You see the sickness, you see. He sees all the sickness. This is the doctor. The one is sleeping during the class. The one who wants to travel. The one who wants this, the one who wants that. He sees everything. But the doctor, it's not that he will say, you're finished. It's finished. You just have a few moments to live. No. He knows that a treatment exists and that will allow to heal the illness. Well, the great personalities that come from the transcendental world, they speak sometimes in such a basic way, whereas they could speak about the heart of Krishna and reveal all the secrets of his heart. But he will not have value. It's just like to give, I don't know, a beautiful cake to a pig. The pig, he will not be able to understand the taste of the cake. He will even prefer stool, a hot stool.
Selon notre conscience,
So according to our consciousness,
on va pouvoir.
we will be able to appreciate.
C'est pourquoi les grands.
That's why the great Vaishnavas,
Les plus grands des Vaishnavas,
and they're
ils peuvent faire ça.
only the greatest of the Vaishnavas, they can do that.
Ils viennent
They come
avec un tel niveau de.
with such a level of love and intimacy.
Ils vont donner une base
They will give a basis,
pour tous les
a base for all living entities to become devotees and progress gradually.
Et c'est ça la beauté.
And this is the beauty of the
Et c'est très mal.
personality of Srila Prabhupada, and it is really misunderstood.
Parfois même certains
Sometimes even certain think
que Prabhupada est pas un pur dévot.
that Prabhupada is not a pure devotee.
Ça arrive.
It happens, huh?
Il a donné juste
That he gives just
des choses comme ça.
a few things like that,
Et que dans ses livres,
and not in his books.
rien
Nothing,
n'a de substance,
there's no substance
d'amour de Dieu.
of love of God.
Il y a toutes sortes de spéculations.
There's all kinds of speculations. But
Lorsqu'on reçoit la
when we
miséricorde
receive the mercy
de Shilada,
of Sri Radha,
on peut comprendre le personnage.
then we can understand the extraordinary character of Prabhupada.
Mais
But
c'est comme un joyau,
it is just like
le plus beau joyau,
the most beautiful jewel,
couronne de Vaishnavas.
the crown of the Vaishnavas, crown jewel, which is hidden
Et qui peut être simplement
and who can simply be revealed
par une miséricorde spéciale.
out of a special mercy.
C'est pourquoi
That is why
c'est très difficile de comprendre les associés du Seigneur.
it is very difficult to understand the associates of the Lord, in which way they
De
speak,
quelle manière ils marchent,
which way they walk,
de quelle manière ils se comportent.
which way they behave.
On voit par exemple,
We see, for example,
quand Srila Prabhupada a été à la mairie de Paris,
when Srila Prabhupada went in the Paris town hall.
c'est super important.
It's super important.
Donc on lui explique.
So we explain to him all the whole protocol.
Dès que le maire va arriver, il faut
But as soon as the mayor arrives, you have to stand
que
up.
le maire de Paris, c'était
And
un autre niveau.
the mayor of Paris in those days, it was another level than now. In the 70s, it was not the same mentality.
C'était vraiment considéré
They were really considered like
très important.
very important
Maintenant,
characters.
c'est moins.
Now it's less.
Mais quand il est
But
arrivé,
when he arrived, the mayor Prabhupada didn't stand up.
le disciple a dit,
And the disciple said, Prabhupada, you have to stand up.
il dit pourquoi je
He said, why will I stand up? For who? For whom?
Il y a que les associés du Seigneur.
Only the associates of the Lord can do this.
Parce que les retombées
Because
vont être mauvaises.
The reactions were very bad.
Mais
But
l'associé du Seigneur,
the associate of the Lord is free.
il n'est lié à aucune règle.
Is connected to no rules.
Personne ne peut faire ça.
Nobody can do this.
Vous comprenez?
You understand?
Et en fait,
And in fact,
ces gloires des grands dévots du Seigneur,
these glories of the great devotees of the Lord, they cannot be understood.
parce que
Because
on voit même les dévots
we even see the devotees.
qui critiquent
The devotees who criticize Prabhupada.
les sannyasis.
Sannyasis.
On a entendu il y a pas longtemps.
I heard not long ago
Sannyasi critiquait-
a sannyasi criticizing
Il
Prabhupada.
était raciste.
He said he was a racist.
Hein, c'est quelqu'un qui vient au Michigan,
It's someone who comes to Michigan sometimes.
qui écrit des livres.
He writes books.
Je dirais pas son nom.
I won't say his name.
Mais pourquoi?
But why?
Parce qu'ils ne peuvent pas comprendre.
Because they cannot understand.
Ils ne peuvent pas comprendre
They cannot understand
la nature de Vaishnava.
the nature of the
Il
Vaishnavas.
faut être introduit
Because we have to be introduced
dans le monde transcendantal.
in the transcendental world.
Merci.
Thank you very much.